presented poem is an intense, sprawling, spiritual and psychological confession that explores the paradoxical beauty found within profound human suffering. At its core, the piece examines how grief, vulnerability, and agony can be elevated into a sacred, transformative experience rather than a mere tragedy. The speaker begins by challenging conventional notions of comfort, asserting that the visceral reality of emotional devastation carries a weight and authenticity far superior to superficial joy or warmth. Rather than fighting the overwhelming influx of sorrow, the narrator surrenders to it completely, viewing their own internal shattering as something almost divine. This opening conceptualization frames the emotional breakdown not as a defeat, but as a humbling, necessary descent into the deepest recesses of the human condition, where suffering acts as a crucible for spiritual awakening. As the narrative progresses, the poetic landscape shifts into vivid metaphors of oceanic submergence, chaotic music, and overwhelming natural forces. The speaker describes an emotional state that behaves like a raging, unstoppable current, pulling them far beneath the surface of ordinary reality into a place of bottomless depth. There is a frantic, almost improvisational quality to this struggle, likened to a wild instrument screeching at the edge of an abyss. The imagery suggests a deliberate abandonment of stable, elevated ground, symbolized by unreachable mountain peaks, in favor of plunging into the turbulent, liquid depths of grief. In this subterranean emotional space, traditional boundaries disappear, and the intense ache becomes an consuming environment that isolates the individual from the outside world, while simultaneously immersing them in a universal human narrative. Central to this emotional journey is a complex, deeply raw dialogue with the divine. The speaker does not approach God with polished prayers or neat theological resolutions, but with a battered, honest spirit that demands recognition for its pain. The relationship with the Creator is marked by a tension between deep reverence and a desperate plea for divine validation. Sorrow is offered up as a solemn possession, a precious liquid gathered into a sacred vessel, rather than a sin or a sign of weakness. The narrator expresses a profound fear of having their tears dismissed, mocked, or deemed meaningless, asking that their extreme vulnerability be acknowledged as a legitimate, sacred offering. Through this open lamentation, the act of weeping transforms into a form of active worship and resistance against despair. Throughout this descent, the speaker wrestles with profound isolation, feeling as though their identity is unraveling amid transparent shadows and heavy silence. The physical manifestations of grief, the trembling limbs, the tight knot in the throat, the aching shoulders, are portrayed as marks of an internal martyrdom. Yet despite the staggering weight of this torment, an unexpected element of liberation begins to emerge from the overwhelming sorrow. By fully relinquishing the desire for worldly comfort and accepting the raw reality of their wounds, the narrator achieves a strange, renegade freedom. The pain cleanses the spirit like a torrential downpour, stripping away pretense, arrogance, and superficial desires until only a soft, receptive, and authentic core remains. In its final resolution, the poem culminates in an earnest petition for restoration, balance, and ultimate meaning. Having imploded inwardly and endured the full brunt of the emotional storm, the speaker begs for divine justice and a gentle uplift, trusting that their prolonged suffering has served a higher purpose. The journey does not end with an easy magic cure, but with a quiet, profound acceptance of the mysterious nature of existence. By framing this immense anguish as a complex, beautifully ordered mystery in the eyes of God, the narrator finds a way to endure the unendurable. Ultimate healing is found not by escaping the darkness, but by allowing the absolute fullness of the pain to reshape the soul into an instrument of pure, unyielding faith. Sophisticatingly, your thorough recognition into despair, loss, and grace had created an alternative of selfless alteration, benefiting the speaker with intervals after interval, decreeing that heartbreak does not somber, but endeavors instead. The ruthlessness the speaker experienced brings himself on a conquest of heartbreak sorrow.